thoughts are kind of everywhere, so
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
they're everywhere. Everything. Yeah, that one.
Hello and welcome back to Remake Hot Take, the podcast where we play studio executives pitching new ideas on our favorite media. We are joined today, by we, I mean just me, are joined today by friend of the pod, Silvana Smith, who we've had on before. Hello, Silvana.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. I'm actually pretty emotionally devastated. Um, this is an episode about the Oscars, but I did watch The Last of Us instead, and watched a playback of the Oscars. But yeah, I'm ready to talk about all my thoughts.
So after seeing The Last of Us, how was it seeing Pedro Pascal presenting? Was that emotionally charged or?
I'm always emotionally charged when I see Pedro out and about on my, computer screen or wherever. But I miss him, so it's nice to see a friendly face.
How
So
was the finale?
it was I kind of knew it was going to happen
Mm.
plot wise, but there were definitely a few scenes that I didn't expect, and they broke my heart.
Oh no.
My heart is broken. It will never be repaired. I also am spoiled on what happens in the second part two of the video game, and I will never recover. So yay!
Yay, happy to be here.
Happy to be
Um,
here.
Also, Brooke is not dead. She just doesn't like award shows.
Mm.
So she is
That's
not.
always what I assume when my favorite podcast host is missing. I'm like, they must have just vanished from the earth.
Yeah. So she is alive and well as far as we know.
Well, she's in Ohio, right? So it can only be so well.
That's true. That's true. So the Oscars. Savannah, are you someone who watches a lot of Oscars movies? Do you typically watch the show?
I like to watch the award show every year. I know viewership has gone down, and I do believe in the conspiracy that the big slap incident was PR, even though I think it's probably not now at this point. But I usually like to watch the Oscars films by the time the award show comes around. Um, but I also like if something's nominated, I won't watch it just because it's nominated.
Mm.
This year is definitely the year that I've seen the least amount of movies.
Gotcha.
Um, I want to say zero, at least of like the best picture category.
Mm.
But I will say I have wanted to see everything everywhere all at once for very long, and I haven't because I am emotionally weak. So just putting that out there. It is a movie that looks good and I do appreciate. And the scenes that I have seen, the clips, I do really like a lot. So I do have that bias, but I have seen, I think, none of the movies. What about you? Do you usually watch the big nominated pictures every year or no?
No, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't usually, but I'm really into like the ballots. I think I'm just really into winning things.
Yeah, I know a few people who will post their predictions and then live Instagram story whether they got it wrong or right.
I did
But
get
how did you do?
19 out of 23 this year.
23. Wow. That's a really good
I
stat.
I did a full, I got all of the animated short, live action short, documentary short, and documentary feature, which are always like the ones no one knows. It's really in the air, and I got all of them. No
Wow.
big deal.
Look at
Whatever.
you.
So I am also the big winner of the night.
That's true. I think that's the biggest takeaway for America's audiences around the world is that Mario won big. So,
This is the one year I didn't have a competition. I've won like a shirt, I've won a Keurig, I've
ooh.
won a ring light. It's
Hmm.
really financed a lot of my life just Googling things. So what did you think of Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel. I watched his monologue. I definitely there were like certain jokes that I guess like didn't they kind of fell a little flat,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think there were any like major missteps. I will say I was watching the playback and for a while, because I've had a busy day, I was like having it in the background while I did something else while he was doing his like in between bits. And for a second I couldn't recognize his accent. Like removing his face, I'm like, is that an American? What kind is he Canadian, Irish? Like, what kind of accent is that? And it's just his voice. Is just
Interesting.
super distinctive, which is I feel like out of all the actors, talk show hosts, like people that have distinctive voices that you can sort of like do impressions, things like that. I don't consider Jimmy Kimmel one of those voices.
Hmm.
But when you remove the face, I'm like, that is unique. But in terms of any standout jokes, it's been a while since a monologue really made me laugh at an award show. I miss
Mhm.
like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler from like 10 years ago at the Golden Globes. But I think there was one joke where it was kind of like, oh yeah, women aren't nominated enough. And it like took a second for the audience to be like, oh yeah, we have to laugh because women aren't nominated enough. And they
Mhm.
were like, they almost were like, ooh, that's a dig at the Academy. But then they were like, wait, no, we have to be actively non-sexist. And so I forget which joke it was, but there was like a pause, and then they were like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha.
I liked the Brendan Fraser filmography mention of that both, Brendan Fraser and Ke Huy Quan were in Encino Man. And this is just like a really bad time for Pauly Shore. Did love that. It validated everything I've been through for like the past 2 years of watching all of Brendan Fraser's filmography. So
Yeah, as a friend who's witnessed your whole journey, I was like, that's a good one. Marriya's gonna love that.
did you know that all of my friends starting now call themselves Brendan Frasers?
Really?
That's what I'm gonna start. I came
That's
up with that right
cute.
now, and I think
Yeah.
you're the first Brendan Fraser.
I think this extends to actors too, but most of the time it's like with bands and musicians that become famous later. I pride myself on like choosing out of my favorites and the ones that I'm like emotionally like, oh, I'm gonna follow their career. I choose good ones. They're not problematic people. They don't randomly like turn into terrible people who like say shitty stuff. But you got a good one. You were like,
I
I love this
know.
man and he is a good man, at least so far. Who's been like really, thoughtful in all his press runs and things like
Right?
that.
He was like crying and he was so happy and he was so proud of everyone else. There's that one time
Oh,
when the whale won for best makeup and like they're
mm,
waiting for the rest of the group coming up and he's just hugging and he like looks like an excited puppy and he's like, get on stage. What are you doing? He's just
aw,
so happy to be there. And the Facebook group is insane right now. The
oh
Brendan
yeah.
Fraser Facebook like fandom group, whatever. What is it called? The Brendan Fraser fan club or something 2.0. And we're going crazy. We're having a great time. Because
Aw,
they're calling it now like the most successful like comeback of a
aw,
Hollywood career, which I think is really
that's
cute and
cute.
really
I also,
deserved.
yeah, both the Encino Man co-stars were like comeback stories too.
Hmm.
That's crazy. I find it so tender when actors get emotional and you can tell it's really genuine and they're like nervous and shaky. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. I think both the lead actor and lead actress were like very emotional during their speech.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, you can just tell it's really genuine. And when they, especially, I think seeing two men have a comeback story, you can tell that they were like, oh, like I had a big break and like I am so grateful to like experience a comeback because I know
Mhm.
how hard it is to like not have those. He phrased it really well too. He used the word facility.
So yeah.
He was like, yeah, it's like it can come and it can go. And so when it comes again, they're just like way more grateful.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think like Brendan always talks about how like you found me, like I was in this dark place and like somehow you found me. And it's like, oh my God, like because I mean so much had turned against him. Like Hollywood Foreign Press was like really terrible to him and not validating his experience of being sexually assaulted, and he was just basically like just blacklisted, and so just for him to come back, I'm so proud of him. Animation, did you have any strong feelings about Guillermo del Toro winning? That was like the easiest call of the night.
Yeah, I'm not, whenever he's nominated, and I feel like he gets nominated a lot. I'm never like super into the films that he released those years, and I'm stick by that. He seems like really nice. He's obviously talented, but I'm like, yeah, you do you. It's like not for me, but good job.
Pinocchio looked really scary though. I don't know.
Yeah, like childhood is scary and I get where he's coming from, but like, no, thank you.
And then the fact that he was like, animation is ready to be taken to the next step, but they did stop motion animation, which is like the
A
least
step back
advanced. Yeah. Um,
technologically.
and then I love the fact that they're like, Judd Hirsch may die at any moment, so let's get his award done first.
A lot of mention of old people and also just like I think middle-aged older people mentioning their parents and how old their parents
Mhm.
are, which is always lovely, but I'm just like we're just all thinking about death right now and it's clear. It's
I
on
think that's
everyone's mind.
also the thing. Like, I think John Williams was there, but honestly, they could have just pointed to an old man and I would have thought that was John Williams.
Oh, yeah, I think he
There is
was
no
there.
way. There is no, I would not have known. Ke Huy Quan won for actor in a supporting role, which I thought was very, very cute. I thought he was very adorable and very excited just for like for everyone. And just, I don't know. I felt like I was a winner with him.
Aw, he was very cute. And I could see at the very end too when what's his name? Harrison Ford came on stage and he was like, that's my guy.
I know. Oh my God. Because that was like his first movie, right? Was Indiana
Mhm.
Jones.
And he was a
Um,
baby. He was just a little kid doing that movie. And now Harrison Ford again, talking about age and death, is very old, but still kicking. And so now it's like he was that age, you know, he's like the adult man now and like
Harrison
tender.
Ford is baffling to me because Harrison Ford always looks like he doesn't want to be anywhere, but he always shows up. So I'm just like, is he in financial trouble? Does he actually like this? Like, what is going on?
Who knows? Sometimes here's my theory is that old people like they lose muscle control and things like that, but also they lose uh sort of levels of politeness or like their threshold of like giving a fuck is so low by the time you reach that age that they're like, I'm not upset, but I'm not gonna smile if I if I don't feel genuinely, you know, in the mood. And I think also sometimes, you know, the gravity, the muscles, their resting bitch face kind of comes out
Mhm.
a lot more prominently in old age. And I think that's what people pick up on. But who knows what's going on underneath that steely exterior, you know?
I thought when you said lack of like muscle control, it was like they sent him a thing and it was like check yes or no if you want to come to the Oscars. And he
No,
just
like
like was like,
facial
ooh,
muscles.
okay, I guess we'll do it. And then we went into the actress in a supporting role, which was shocking with Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't
Yeah, were you
know.
shocked?
I thought, I mean, I didn't guess her. I mean, it was between
Who did you
Angela
guess?
Bassett
Oh.
and Carrie Condon, and I chose Carrie Condon because I felt like they
Oh,
weren't going to go with a Marvel movie as winning like for Best Actress,
that's
um
interesting.
but like she was like kind of the weakest of the bunch, so a lot of people are saying that it was like just basically a legacy award for Jamie Lee
For
Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, that's the thing is that I haven't seen her actual performance, but
Mm-hmm.
with Jamie Lee Curtis, I was like, she's such a household name. She hasn't won. I think she's gonna win just to like, you know, so she can be like, I don't have to do another movie. I can just chill out. A lot of people wanted Stephanie Shu to win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I understand wanting the people who are like who gave the best performance to win because that's like the name of the game or whatever. But I mean, it's all very political still and stuff like that. But I also think like she's clearly so talented. Like I know she'll get nominated again for something that I
That's
think
true.
people were like willing to be like, okay, like we don't have to choose her or whatever in order to like favor the old. People are dying.
Well,
Like that's such the
I think
mood.
it was like weird, like it's like a movie that is very Asian communities are very proud of it. And then it's like the one
Mhm.
let's
The
vote
white
for the
actor,
one white
yeah.
woman in the movie.
Yeah, I also know that that movie still won like a ton of awards and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And then Angela Bassett, I mean, I've never seen any Marvel movies, so it's hard for me to comment on them and like that kind of acting and stuff like that. But I knew
Mhm.
that she was like a favorite as
Yeah.
well. And there was like the presenter who presented, I can because I had never seen like any of the Wakanda movies. So I didn't know like what Angela Bassett looked like. I didn't know who Ariana DeBose, I think her name is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know who she was. I just saw the clip of her performing a random song at like a British award show, and she was just Ariana was singing the name Angela Bassett did the thing or something like that, and I was like, okay, that's all about the situation I'm going to be informed about. So I was
Yeah,
like,
her
once I
face
saw
fell.
her category in her movie, and I'm like, the pieces are falling into place. Now I know what she was singing about. Is that Angela Bassett is an actress nominated for the movie. And Ariana DeBose is like another actress who, for some reason, was singing an award show in England, I
Well, she
think.
was in like West Side Story, and she was
More information.
the bullet in Hamilton, the original
The
Broadway.
bullet?
Yeah, that kills Hamilton. Someone plays the bullet in
Someone plays the
the
bullet?
yeah.
I watched like the movie version of Hamilton, the like filmed play thing.
Mm-hmm. You didn't notice the person playing the bullet?
I really didn't. I noticed a lot of the spit coming out of the king's mouth.
Oh yeah.
That was the most memorable part of that movie for me.
Imagine being in the splash zone for that. But I think it was interesting. Like, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis, she was fun to see win because she was just like, I'm 100 people.
Yeah, I'm glad
Like,
that she definitely wasn't like selfish about that win, but I think maybe she knew that a lot of people had other favorites,
mhm.
that she was like, oh, I'm a million people. Also, very Nepo baby. She was like, my parents also won Oscars, name drop. And then
But she
she
was
looked up
like,
to the sky and I'm like, they're dead because everybody's dying. That
well,
was
this
the
is
theme of the
Jake
Oscars.
Gyllenhaal's Link.
Really?
Yeah, because she's his godmother.
Oh.
Yeah. But I love the part where she was like, Daniels, we won an Oscar. Everything, everywhere, all at once. We won an Oscar. And I wanted her so badly to say,
To say,
anyone who has pooped by using Activia, we won an
honestly, that was her greatest role, you know?
Oscar.
Her best performance.
We had Sophia Carson singing
That
Applause, which
no
was
one
not good.
I had like seen tweets and things like that after the Oscars had premiered, and like small reactions, and I think was spoiled for like who won Best Actor, Actress in the picture, before I watched the show, but no one talked about that. Did not see it coming. It happened, and I'm like, that's that girl from that terrible Netflix movie.
And
That was her.
Descendants, the Disney Channel
I don't know.
original
I
movie.
keep hearing the word descendants means nothing to me. Yeah, and it's like she's not talented, but she sings the way J-Lo sings in or sang in the 90s stylistically. You know, it's not a bad singing, but I hate it.
Yeah, it wasn't really
It wasn't
enunciating. I
pleasant.
had no idea what she was saying. And I was like, huh, this was nominated for best lyrics.
But also
I'm
I'm
not
like,
getting any of them.
maybe I just wasn't educated on like what they were singing or like the nomination or whatever, that I just like didn't know the project. But
Mhm.
I was like, did they have to choose her out of every singer in the world?
Right.
Sorry to this person. But like, I mean, I don't know, it was very strange. It's because it was like a Lifetime Hallmark type movie on Netflix.
Mhm.
And it's like, and that actress went to the Oscars. I don't know. Like she shared the stage with Rihanna. I think it's a little out of place.
It
That's all I'm
is.
gonna
It is definitely. And then we moved into documentary feature. And I just feel like as society, we need to let go of the slap. Like there were so many remnants of the slap, and we just really need to say goodbye. Like that was just like the whole thing. It was just like,
Yeah.
remember what happened last year?
There was so much discourse that I don't think it like warranted. People brought so many layers to it that I'm just like, okay, like they brought more attention to it than it deserved, and they sort of created more discourse than it needed. I mean, people have been slapped before.
No,
There was
this is the
actually a show
first.
on like ABC, NBC, whatever, called The Slap that was like on for 2 seasons, I think, and it like got less press than like those 2 seconds last year. But
It was just like, I don't know, everyone was just bringing it up, and like it's like the two parties involved have like exchanged words like we're done. Like I don't even think like maybe there was some kind of reference to like the La La Land Moonlight thing. Like that's the only
Oh
big
yeah.
Oscar thing, but I don't think even that much compared to the slap.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what makes me think it was PR because like they keep
Mm.
talking about it, but I'm
Someone
over it.
said on Twitter, they were like, I really hope Chris Rock goes and someone in the audience is willing to do the funniest thing of the year. Navalny won for documentary feature. It was all about Ukraine and like this guy who's still like kind of a war prisoner and stuff. And his daughter wanted to speak and they just played music over her. That just kept on happening all night.
Yeah. I remember it was mostly like smaller categories of people who aren't like famous actors or
Hmm.
anything. And it was like after they'd finish, their professional thank yous, they were like, and my family, and then
No.
they're like, fuck your family. There's also a reaction gif of one of them many times it happened, and then Paul Mescal was just like, ooh,
I love that
like
moment.
it's hard to watch.
Right. I do love that the when an Irish Goodbye one that they used it to sing Happy Birthday. I thought that was the cutest thing
Aw.
that has ever happened at the Oscars. And then I thought it was weird how much like advertising was in the show this year.
Oh.
Like we had the 100 years of Disney and they just used that to show a trailer of Little Mermaid and then 100
Yeah.
years of Warner Brothers and then they had like a big ad for like the Academy's museum and gift shop. And I thought that was
Oh.
also a little strange.
Yeah, I also noticed that. I guess like 100 years is like a big deal and things like that.
Mhm.
But and like obviously they pay for that kind of placement. Yeah, I also almost went to that museum the last time I was in LA and like didn't. Mostly because it was very expensive. And also I didn't have time.
I liked that they were saying like you can never have an experience like this in a museum, and they're like, "Fuck the Smithsonian, fuck your free museum."
Dude,
Um,
because that's the thing is like my threshold for paying for museum is so high because I get
mhm,
so many good museums for free.
right. And now I think the Smithsonian has Ruby Red Slippers, C3PO, and R2D2 on display right now.
Wow.
Uh, so
There you go.
free promo. But I thought it was just very weird that we got like this weird trailer for Little Mermaid. Like it felt like very Comic-Con, Disney Expo. I
Oh.
was like, oh, it's like Jamie Lee Curtis doing like a meet and greet outside. Like it was just very odd.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like they've been talking about this movie for like 5 years.
right.
That I'm like, oh, there's just a trailer now. Like, I don't know.
I love how Pfizer sponsored the Oscars and only Jessica Chastain was wearing a mask.
Yeah, I did notice Jessica Chastain wearing a mask. And also they made her take it off.
I
So
know.
I'm like, come on, guys.
Also, why did we make Malala speak?
That was something that I didn't like about Jimmy's whole thing was I'm like, it's gonna rub people the wrong way. And
Hmm.
also like leave her alone, like let her be in peace.
Pedro presenting with
Oh my
Elizabeth
life.
Olsen. What were your feelings?
It's interesting because they're the two what's it called? The like lie detector tests that I've seen recently. Was Pedro's, of course, very infamous. And then I saw Elizabeth Olsen's where she like reveals this like weird dynamic between her and Chris Evans, where she was like, yeah, we used to be good friends, and now we're not. And I'm like, we didn't need that information. Interesting that you share that. Sounds like
Interesting.
things went sour. And she's like, yeah, like he's totally a great guy. We're not close anymore. And
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
okay, my condolences. But um I think he did great. I could tell that he like when he was waiting for the teleprompter and it like, timing missteps that happen with usual presentations. There was a point in the monologue, I think, where they're like, "Oh, all these people are going to protect Jimmy from a slap." And they're like, "We've got the Mandalorian protecting Jimmy." And he like points to the camera. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
But he's definitely like a very big commodity, and I feel like at all these events, they're like it's either his agent or other people's agent that are like, you need a picture with Pedro Pascal or Pedro, you need to take a picture with as many people as possible because like this is your moment. The moment is you. Like, get your face out there. But I do think he's in danger of being overexposed right now.
That's
So I do want to
interesting.
protect him.
Do you
Um,
think he was up there, like knowing that people were watching the finale of The Last of Us and he was ruining lives and he was just up
ruining
there
lives.
hanging out?
Yeah, I think right before he came on, Jimmy was also like, everybody's watching something else right now. Everybody's watching him, kill a bunch of people. And it was true. That's exactly what I was doing. You texted me, oh, Pedro's like coming on. He's doing this category. And I'm like, I can't look at this right now. I'm literally watching him kill people.
That's always fun.
Totally justified. I love him. It's done nothing wrong.
Loved seeing
Pedro
him
has
talk
done-
about A Year of Dicks, though. That was fun. The Boy, the Mole, the Box, and the Horse. I mean, that was like the celebrity. It was like produced by J.J. Abrams and like Woody Harrelson, so that was like the obvious one. I don't like that they're anti-Oxford comma because I do like a good
Oh,
Oxford comma. But I love that when he was like, when the guy who accepted was like, I was absent for 2 years while this film took flight because I felt similarly during our 24 speed film competition,
yeah.
which we premiered last weekend at Ampersand Film Festival in Williamsburg. Let's let them think
Woohoo.
that it's Williamsburg, New York. Um,
Yeah.
and we won Best Overall, but that's how I felt as well during that whole experience. Um,
Yeah, it's crazy thinking about how this is the first award show I watched since I, myself, and you won an award. In real life, we have a statue. We have
mhm.
our own little mini Oscar. Um,
So we're
I
right
actually
up
didn't,
with them.
yeah, I actually didn't make the connection um of those experiences. They were very different. There were no speeches, but we're
Well,
both
Jimmy Kimmel
winners.
hosted both.
Yeah. Actually, we had a better host.
Mhm.
Honestly, I feel like our host did a
Go
better
ahead.
job. Yeah.
But then I was like confused, like why they let the two white men who won for the boy, the mole, the box, and the horse speak when like the Indian woman who wanted to speak for the elephant whisperer was like played off. I was like, this feels
Yeah.
they're very against women talking, which was a
Yeah.
nominee.
Yeah. But I definitely also appreciated how Pedro like took care in pronouncing people's names too. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that was a good category to put him in
Yeah.
instead of someone like John Travolta or whoever just stumbling his way through it and being like, sorry, peace out.
Then we got to see Lady Gaga sing.
She seemed
Um,
really sad. I have no context to what Top Gun Maverick is about. I think it's about planes and like white men trying to be buff and men and whatever. And she
yeah,
was like
that's it.
so like heartbroken like over this song and there's like a message about heroes or something and I'm like
The
this is a
camera
Tom
was
Cruise
also
movie, right?
so close to her. And like
Yeah.
she had walked to the carpet like an hour before, full makeup. So I don't know how they got all of it
And they just
off.
like took it off.
Yeah, I don't know. It
Wow.
was very interesting. But I was like, where's Bradley Cooper? Like, how many people are in the room? Is Bradley Cooper there? Does he believe in her? Like, where are the stats?
That's so true. Like I need to know how many people are in the room right now.
A lot of people are talking about Hugh Grant and that
Oh
whole weird
yeah, he
moment
said
where
the word
he,
scrotum on
yeah,
national television. I didn't know I didn't think he was gonna get away with that, but they didn't bleep it.
yep.
So
I mean, when it's Hugh Grant, I mean, he's so
also
British that you expect him to be
yeah,
be polite.
I did like the Ozempic joke in Jimmy Kimmel's either monologue or somewhere in there. That's topical. I like that.
I don't understand why they always plug the Governor Awards. Like, no one knows what it
Hmm.
is. It's just like Hollywood people being happy, and we just see little clips of it, and I
Yeah.
don't need it.
Yeah. I
Um,
wasn't a fan.
and then Elizabeth Banks and the Cocaine Bear.
Ooh, yeah. I thought that joke went on like maybe 2 or 3 beats too long.
And then
I
the
didn't know
bear
why.
attacking Malala. I thought the bear was going to be Matt Damon, and then I thought that was going to make sense for the little like Matt Damon Jimmy Kimmel rivalry, but it
Yeah,
just wasn't.
maybe it was Matt Damon. They cut it. It was
I
him
don't
in there the
know.
whole time. They just cut the reveal. I also, unless I think usually they'll like give celebrities a heads up if they're gonna like pick on them in the crowd or whatever, or
Hmm.
like give them a line or have them in on the bit. I don't know if they did that with Malala, but if they didn't, I'd be like, I don't know. If I came to an award show and I wasn't like doing anything. I just want to enjoy the show. I don't want to be bothered, but
Right. Well, you
yeah.
see when he goes to talk to Jessica Chastain to ask her a question, you see Nicole Kidman like sitting right in front going, "Oh, thank God," that he wasn't going towards her. But I don't know. I was wondering if Elizabeth Banks was okay because she was tripping and her voice was like dead, and I
Yeah,
was
her
very
voice.
concerned. And I love how much focus there was on Chadwick Boseman this year because I think that was their big whoopsie last year was they put
Yeah.
leading actor last because everyone thought Chadwick Boseman was going to win. So they didn't mention him at all during the awards. And then he didn't win. And whoever did win
Yeah.
wasn't even there.
Oh,
So good
yeah.
thing they made up for that this time.
I don't know if they have made up for it, but they tried, which was nice. Yeah.
And I thought it was very smart to put Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh together.
Yeah. I definitely
Um,
agree. I feel like they have similar vibes almost.
right?
I also find it funny where in the like list of people trying to defend Jimmy or whatever, they also listed him as Spider-Man. And there was like a pause after they said it. I think it was probably a delay in the camera for the audience and like not us. But there was such a pause, the people weren't clapping for him that he was like, oh, like sorry guys. And then after they saw his face, they started clapping and everything. But I thought that was funny because I was like, everybody loves Andrew
Right?
Garfield. Why aren't they clapping?
And I think it was interesting in the introducing of the best original screenplay when they were going through all of like the nominees and everyone started clapping at Triangle of Sadness and he was like, "Yes, I agree. That's my favorite. I completely agree." And then it didn't win. And I feel like that was probably so awkward when Everything Everywhere All at Once came up and Andrew Garfield was basically like the very polite British Kanye West of like
Ooh.
everything everywhere all at once. I'm gonna let you finish, but Triangle of Sadness had the best original screenplay of the year.
Triangle of Sadness was also one I hadn't heard of until the award show. So the sort of the intonation of the title Triangle of Sadness reminds me of Multiverse of Madness, which was a big phrase this
Mm.
year. So I think that's why it like sounded familiar, but I really hadn't heard anything of that film before.
I feel like a Triangle of Sadness
Do you?
often, often.
Well, there's only two of us, so it's like a line from point A to point B, then a triangle because Brooke's not here. But
That's true. Well, we connect all the way to Ohio. How do you think they choose who has to go to the balcony? Like, is it just like all the people that they don't think are going to win? Because Triangle of Sadness was all in the balcony.
really, wait, did they
Yeah.
come down?
No, because they didn't win anything. But so
So
I'm like
yeah,
wondering
that's
if they're
why
just like, would they
they
parachute down?
they definitely, if you're in the balcony, you're not going to win.
Right.
But I don't know if Oscars is one of them, but there for most award shows, you do know whether or not you're going to win.
Oh,
If you're
interesting.
nominated for multiple awards, they might not tell you every single award that you win,
Hmm.
but in order to get people to show up, they're like, you are guaranteed at least one win. Will you come? I don't know
Interesting.
if Oscar's one of them though. They might be the one because they're such like, one of the highest awards or whatever of prestige. They
Yeah.
might be the ones that like don't do that, but I'm pretty sure they do that.
Do you think like if Moonlight knew beforehand, were they just really confused when the La La Land thing happened?
I don't know. They did reference that again, that incident and the sword show. I don't think if they do that, they don't do it for like the bigger categories. It's less
Mhm.
fun that way.
Yeah.
But it's always fun to see how people react to stuff like that.
I also like I always love when they bring out two people, like one of them is maybe like really popular with like Marvel movies or something, and one of them is like an esteemed actress or something. So like when they had like Zoe Saldana and three-time Academy nominee Sigourney Weaver, like how would that feel to be introduced like piece of shit and someone nominated by the Academy in their career?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They also had Cara Delevingne as a presenter or something. And I saw tweets about that where they're like her PR team worked so fast to try and clean up that image. She did look great. So hopefully
Mhm.
she is great. But
Hopefully.
yeah, it's funny to see like some of the most like prestigious accoladed actors out there and then they're just like, oh, someone who will like put kids in the seats at home watching.
I thought every time that the Daniels came up for Everything Everywhere All at Once, they were just really down to earth and fun. I don't know. I liked that. They had us energy whenever we won anything.
Aw.
Of
We should
like,
both change our name to one name.
we don't know why we're here, but we're just excited to be involved.
Aw. I also think, especially the movies that had a lot of award or a lot of nominations, you could tell like when the crew and the cast were like really tight and like loved the project and like enjoyed working together. And when they were just kind of like businessy, kind of like, yeah, I'm doing a good career thing.
Yeah, I don't think Tar smiled once.
Yeah.
And then Brendan Fraser won, and everyone was crying, and I was crying. My dad voted against him for Austin Butler, but Austin Butler, I don't know. I don't like Austin Butler personally.
I'm gonna go on record. Wherever my career takes me, I hate Austin Butler.
Right?
In a professional sense and also in a public image sense.
He gives me the
saw him
creeps.
in Zoe 101. He's a bad actor. I saw him in Carrie Diaries. He's a bad actor. I saw him treat just Vanessa Ann Hudgens like shit.
Right, Vanessa Ann in the red carpet. Vanessa Ann Hudgens.
She's one of the like talky.
Yeah, but they
interviewers.
didn't. They made him go to someone else because they used to date. But that would have been some of the best work of cinema, is if she had to interview him on Elvis. Because like, wasn't there the whole thing where he was like, "Oh, a good friend told me that I should play Elvis," when it was his girlfriend of like 3 years, Vanessa Ann Hudgens.
I'm pretty sure
Say
it's the
her
project
name.
that like hurt their relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
All method actors seem to be these white guys who think so highly of their craft.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can be a human and treat people with kindness and not treat people like shit and, you know, get away with it because you're a method actor and it's like part of art or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
and my sister made a good point where it's like with method actors, like the key of being an actor is like being able to turn it on and off. If you can't turn it off, like, are you even like that great? And like, is he just stuck like that now? Like he did all that and he's stuck in that voice. And I think
stupid.
it's fake.
Like I don't think he sounds like how Elvis really spoke.
I think it's all fake.
It's also, I don't know, when people kind of do that, sometimes it can like border on offensive too, that you're just like putting on this accent that you know isn't genuine.
Right.
And like taking it offset into your like he orders coffee like that. Like here's the thing. He's a white man and he's like skinny. So of course
and blonde.
He has those privileges. Yeah. Adult blonde men are terrible. Like be an adult, be brunette, grow up, you know, take yourself seriously. Dye your hair brown. Most people aren't naturally blonde as adults anyways, but I don't even know if he's naturally a blonde or if he dyed it before he went dark, but I think he's ugly, but he's one of those guys that will still have the privilege of being conventionally attractive in the industry without having earned it by being born with a better face.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. It's like people are like, oh my God, Pedro Pascal, like he's so unconventionally attractive but adored by women. No, he's a nice guy. He is attractive. He just is ethnic and doesn't look like he has white features, you know?
Right.
It's not that surprising. And I get annoyed when ugly white men are deemed attractive.
Yeah.
So, but that's
Fuck
just
Austin
me.
Butler. I just thought he was also, so cocky.
Like, if you're ugly but a nice guy and talented, I'm like, who cares what you look like?
It doesn't sound like he's nice.
He's not
sounds
talented.
Like he's very
sounds like he's mean. So
yeah.
And also he's dating someone way too young who met Vanessa Ann Hudgens as an actual like 6-year-old.
Right.
And it's like, imagine meeting someone when you're 6 and like meeting like an adult woman with a job and being like, I'm gonna take your boyfriend one day.
I went to Walmart today and someone in the Walmart shopping center was blasting Elvis and I was like, get over it. He lost.
Get over it.
This is my Super Bowl.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
Michelle Yeoh was like, I thought that was very exciting when she won for especially the first Asian woman to win actress.
Only second woman of color.
Right?
There's only been 2. It frustrates me so much because also thinking of all like the talented women of color that have been in films and like been nominated but not nominated for lead actress, that it's like there are so many people who've earned that title already that it's like just 2. And also it's like Halle Berry is her own thing, but like it was just Halle Berry. It wasn't even like one of like the greats in my opinion, but it's fine.
Yeah. Like,
that's just Halle Berry is fine. I'm not hating on Halle Berry.
well, like I feel like Viola Davis, was she supporting actress?
I think she's
Must
one
have
supporting
been,
actress
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
I think it was for The Help too, and she's been in way better films than that.
Yeah.
And like more projects she's proud of
And she should have
personally.
been nominated for The Woman King. Like she got some big buzz for that.
Yeah, I
this
have
year.
heard, I don't know if it was for the Oscars specifically, but there was like another actress who had won an award who was West Asian or distantly something, or not distantly, but like half something, where her background was just like erased for the role and then also in the industry.
Yeah.
But I forget. There was talk about it on Twitter when the nominations came out, but I think my main takeaway was just like the lead actor, lead actress acceptance speeches were just like so tender and really heartfelt. I love that Michelle, that's her name, right? Her first name's Michelle. Her speech was partly dedicated to moms, which I thought was really cute, and just like a lot of mom and dad thanking like that evening. I don't know if it's usually that way and I'm just not paying attention, but I feel like death is on the mind. I feel like parenthood is on the mind, and I think it's because of The Last of Us.
And well, I also appreciate that Daniel Kwan was also talking about his son, and he was like, don't think you have to live up to this. This doesn't happen usually. This is really weird. Like, don't. And I was like, wow, I could have used that. Not that my parents have won an Oscar.
But yeah, I mean Jamie Lee Curtis's parents won an Oscar. But yeah, just a lot of thinking of the parents. I think a lot of winners were also like, my parents were immigrants and like I'm a child of that. And it's nice to see because also it's like a very like large symbol of like conventional success in America, that it's like it's nice to see when that holds up. And they're like, it is like the American dream.
Yeah.
For like that money, success, recognition. And it also almost felt bittersweet because the American dream is such a lie. But it's like still nice to see it like work out for, older generations. I don't know, like everybody's story is different. I don't know. It was sweet to see people, especially I think one of the people who worked on Everything Everywhere All at Once was like my immigrant father, who also died young, as a lot of immigrant parents do. And I was like, it's true too. Like, parental loss is a thing in a lot of lives, and life, man. I thought it was really sweet. Just a lot of crying, and
I think
I feel like
more wholesome than a lot of Oscars are.
Yeah, more wholesome this year. Winners that were very gracious, which I'm thankful for. I also liked that they did do the all the categories. There were a few that I definitely was just like, I don't care. But I didn't really mind. Like, I'm not upset. And then I always just enjoy like the costumes and the editing and things like that. I think it's just interesting. And I do, like every young kid, I think no matter what you're interested in, does have the like fantasy of like, oh, like what would I say if I like won an award on a televised stage and everything? Like, who would I thank? And I have ideas of what I would say. And I don't want to be an actor. I don't want to be a director. I don't want to be famous in that way. But I do want to be able to get up on a stage and say a speech. And the only way that would happen is if they continue to televise the really like not famous categories, and you have like random people who aren't famous come up and thank their own parents. That's like, who, I don't fucking care who this guy's parents are, but it's sweet and I want to see it.
Do you want to make a documentary short?
No. I could. It'd be enjoyable. I don't know.
Who would you thank?
I made a promise to myself a few years ago that I would thank Paramore, the current members of Paramore. And then I would thank my dad. But there was this one of the times where the Daniels went up. The white one was, I think he's white. The tall one was like, I'm gonna list all the teachers who did me wrong and didn't believe in me or whatever. And then he said psych, and like did all the teachers who like really
we would
influenced
actually
him.
go through with that.
I would shit talk so many people in my speech, because that's the thing. It's like not everybody is as fortunate. People like to be grateful, which I love and appreciate. But like, I think it's also empowering to say like, especially for people who are discriminated against, like you do get beaten down. Sometimes you have no one in your corner and you have to continue. Like I think there is a place to say like, hey, a lot of people, I say fuck you right now because you
Yay.
tried your hardest to like fuck me over and I still got here. And I think that's just a powerful message to people who don't have anyone to rely on, who don't have parents, who don't have people in the industry in their corner like getting their foot in the door, because that doesn't happen for everyone. But maybe because those speeches don't happen is because those people are successfully beaten down and they don't make it because they have no one.
We have a list and we are
like,
willing to share.
But like, yeah, especially I think with teachers at the moment and just like what their jobs are like right now, I think it's more important to highlight the people who make a difference in a positive way than make a difference in a negative way, because both bad and good teachers do deserve to get paid more. Because just because you're bad at your job doesn't mean you need to be living in poverty, you know? But I do have a list of racist, terrible, abusive teachers who I wouldn't name drop, but I would say, if you're still alive, fuck you. You're a terrible person. And now I'm
You don't
powerful
even do
enough to
research
say
if
fuck
they're
you from the
alive.
stage. Yeah. Yeah. Some of them are old. Honestly, maybe they're dead. I don't know. A lot of white teachers, they weren't so nice. Honestly, though, this might be the biggest platform I'll ever have access to. So that whole speech I just made was probably my one opportunity that I'll take to say sometimes people suck. So
And you're gonna end up on a list, so watch
yeah.
out.
And yeah, but also it's like if I do end up having people that are gracious towards me and I get to thank them, then I will thank them. But no one's nice to me right now. So if you want to be thanked, you step up. I would thank you, Marriya. I do appreciate you. But you're not like a mentor. We're like equals. It's not like you're getting me jobs, you know?
Oh,
It's not like you're an industry giant helping
okay.
me get a seat at the table.
I invited you onto my podcast.
Thank you for this platform. I'd like to thank Marriya.
Thank you.
You're younger than me. You're not my mentor. I appreciate it. I'm very
appreciate
grateful.
you.
I'm a very gracious person, as you can tell from my little diatribe. Who would you recast as the host?
Well, so I said if I'm being serious, I think the Mischief Theater Company, the England Mischief Theater Company would be really good at hosting the Oscars. They do like the play that goes wrong, Peter Pan goes wrong, Christmas Carol goes wrong, the show that goes wrong. So they've done a lot of that kind of stuff. They've been on Fallon, do like the talk show that goes wrong. So I think it would be really fun to have an Oscars where like everything goes wrong, even though that's like most years, like with the Slap and La La Land Moonlight mix up. But I would also say the Oscars have often done things to acknowledge famous movie anniversaries. Like they've done a lot of stuff for like Sound of Music and stuff. And there was a movie that turned 20 this year that they failed to highlight, which was 2003's The Room. So I think they should have had Tommy Wiseau host.
Wow.
And like, tell me that would not have been the best Oscars. Like, we have Snoop Dogg sitting in the front row, no real reason, just for him to say, "Hi, doggy." And writers are expensive. Tommy Wiseau writes all of his own lines. We have no idea what he's gonna say. It's gonna be great. Fashion's always really hard. It's hard to pick what you're gonna wear. The dress code, we're gonna have a dress code. Either you get to wear a red dress or a very ill-fitting suit. And those are the only options you have. All presenters will come down through a spiral staircase.
A very not sturdy looking staircase that's not really finished on the top.
Audio presenters, they're expensive. So instead of paying someone to announce each person as they come out, we're going to have the audience step it up. So then, if the audience is falling asleep, they have a little bit of a
job
part.
to do.
Yeah. And so then they go like, "Hi, whatever, how many time winner, Oscar winner Meryl Streep," and that's how she gets presented by the audience as a collective. They show clips of the Best Picture nominees. That's not going to change what I think about them. So every time, let's just show a clip of The Room. Let's honor it. The orchestra, They have lives, they have families, they're busy. So they just have to learn that one song from The Room and they just play it over and over again. Instead of people getting played off, you'll get attacked by Chris R. He will not give you 5 more minutes to finish your speech. I also think, sometimes it can be hard to get to the stage. So I would also offer that everyone has the crowd surfing option to get from wherever you are sitting to the stage. I think that would be a great option. And then we would also have live performances of only the 2 original songs from The Room that are played during the sex scenes, as well as the best songs from 2003, because we're basically trying to recreate what it would have been like if The Room was nominated that year. So we would have like Crazy in Love by Beyonce, Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. It would be a really fun time.
I think that is what's missing from the Oscars, that like it factor that they're trying to get back from the olden days is The Room. I think they're just like, that's the missing.
They could have done it for the year that Disaster Artist was nominated, but they were cowards. I'll say it.
Oh.
Who would you have host?
Wow. I really don't know. I haven't really enjoyed a host at the Oscars in a long time. I think sometimes with the Golden Globes, because it's a little bit more casual, you get a little bit more personality in the host, or they get like funnier gets. Whereas with the Oscars, they try to keep it very like palate cleansing. Everybody's going to enjoy it. I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel is pretty, I feel like he's the most not annoying out of the current talk show hosts. Like Jimmy Fallon, I feel like people are over him. James Corden is like everybody's most hated celebrity. We haven't had a woman host in a while, but
Stephen
people
Colbert.
hate women. Oh, I love Stephen.
Colbert could be good.
Steven's too good for the Oscars, though. I feel like,
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers would be good. I remember Anne Hathaway and James Franco presented once, and I think it was like everyone thought it was really random, and then it was like people really liked it.
I thought Hugh Jackman did a good job.
Yeah,
he did a whole little number.
Oh yeah.
I'm weird, and I really actually did like Neil Patrick Harris until he was like canceled or whatever. So
was he canceled for?
Yeah, he a bunch of stuff came out that he served like Amy Winehouse's dead corpse at a Halloween party, like that was his platter. So yeah, we're not the biggest fans of Neil Patrick Harris anymore. I do say the royal we. You don't have to be included.
But women-wise, I think Melissa McCarthy would do a good job. But I think she like hasn't. I've been seeing her in this weird commercial on TikTok, so I guess she's not doing great career-wise.
Well, she presented at the Oscars this year.
I was not watching that part. Which part?
The part where they show the clip of The Little Mermaid that she's in, that she's playing Ursula.
The clips of the movies I fast forwarded through because I started the show. It's like 3 hours long. I started it like 2 hours before this was starting. But I think she'd be a good like overall host. She's pretty good timing, and I think in general people like her from like different spectrums of taste. I don't know, when was the last time people had or the Oscars had a woman? Because Ellen DeGeneres is like super canceled, and she's the last one I remember.
Oh, apparently last year was Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes. So last year.
Oh, or wasn't it for a while the Oscars didn't have a host? They just
but I think they were technically the host.
They were like the main hosts. 3?
Yeah, that was last year. And then Ellen DeGeneres was 2014. And then James Franco, Anne Hathaway was 2011. Ellen DeGeneres again in 2007.
Oh, wow.
I think Steve Martin, because Steve Martin's done it a lot, but I don't know if Steve Martin has done it with Martin Short, and I think that could be good.
That would be cute. I feel like they presented an award show together.
But mainly it's Steve Martin alone, which I think is weird.
Yeah. I did see Aubrey Plaza was the presenter, I think, at the Critics' Choice Award or something like that.
With Jenna Ortega.
She's definitely not palatable for the great American audience, but I love her. I would choose her.
So would you like to hear each category that I have prepared?
Okay. Let's go for it.
So animated feature. Presenting would be Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. So
That's either I love Bugs Bunny.
A Bugs Bunny like in a suit, because we know Nick Cage will take any role, or we could get like a screen and he can interact, but this way we get another Space Jam on the board. So nominees are Encanto, Sing-Along Edition, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Minions: The Rise of Gru, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Rehydrated, and Turning Red. And the Oscar would go to a 5-way tie because Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio looks terrifying. Yes, animation can take us to new heights and allow us to experience the world in all new ways, but should it? That's the big question. And then actor in a supporting role presenting would be Matt LeBlanc, who played Joey Tribbiani on Friends, because he is like the supporting actor in my mind. He can't be a lead actor. Like they literally had that show Joey spinoff and it like failed. So let's just give him the stage.
He had that TV show Episodes. I never saw it. So
nominees, I chose John Boyega for The Woman King, Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Ki Hoi Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse, and Ben Whishaw for Women Talking. I've not seen any of these movies, but I gave it to Ki Hoi Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once just because that was very cute. Actress in a supporting role, we're going with the same logic. So the presenter is Judy Greer, who also like never plays the main character. Let's just get her on stage. Nominees were Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow for The Whale, Kerry Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Carey Mulligan for She Said, because I did actually watch that and I liked that performance. And the winner is Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, just that we fixed the whole Jamie Lee Curtis situation. Documentary feature, because I actually did see some documentaries this year. So the presenters will actually be the biggest docuseries feature of the year, which was Harry and Meghan. So they'll just go out and they'll present that one. They can make a little jokes about like how this scene will be played on The Crown and everyone can play themselves.
I was like, oh, Harry and Meghan. Okay, whoever those people are. It's like the Harry and Meghan. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna get them in.
I'm on board.
And nominees are All That Breathes, The Beatles Get Back, Goodnight Oppie, Navalny, and The Princess. And the winner is Navalny because I'm not a monster. Live action short presenting Martin Short. Easy. Nominees are An Irish Goodbye, Le Pupille, Love is Stacked Against Me, Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. And the winner is Love is Stacked Against Me by Morton Third Floor, our audience award-winning film from last year. Spoiler alert, On the Clock is going to win the next Oscars. Cinematography, I would have Selena Gomez present because she's the actress with the most Instagram followers, which is her cinematography. And it's also like relevant with the Hailey Bieber drama. Nominees are Aftersun, All Quiet on the Western Front, Empire of Light, Nope, and Tar. And the winner is Aftersun because I thought that had some pretty shots. Makeup and hairstyling, it would be Meryl Streep and Harrison Ford, but they just got their faces painted by a face painter at a kid's birthday party. And the nominees, I'm a little frustrated that every year who wins makeup and hairstyling is like the person with the biggest fat suit. So I'm going to say that these are the nominees with the hottest casts. So I'm not really familiar with a lot of the 2022 movies, so this was hard, but I chose The Batman, Bodies, 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 Deep Water, Don't Worry, Darling, and Thor, Love and Thunder. And I chose Don't Worry, Darling because Harry Styles and Florence Pugh, congratulations all around.
They did have good makeup because they made Harry look so weird and bad. But Bodies, 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 hottest cast.
Right? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Costume design, presenting Tim Gunn of Project Runway. And it's going to be the same nominees, but this time they have to compete in a competition to remake their costumes from their respective movies. And whoever does the best job by the end of the telecast will win the Oscar. And Tim Gunn will tell them to make it work. International feature presenting will be Joseph Quinn because he's the international I would like to feature. Nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, Banshees of Inisherin, Close, and EO. and the winner is Banshees of Inisherin. I don't know what counts as an international feature, but that seemed pretty Irish. So
Yeah.
documentary short, it's going to be Martin Short again. But it's a filmed version of him making a documentary about presenting the documentary short. It's going to be the same nominees because we don't really have any skin in the game here. But when they win, we'll actually let them speak. Animated short, it's Martin Short, but this time we've recorded him previously and he's animated.
And he's animated. I love that. I'm sad the Oscars haven't done that yet.
Right?
Of like a pre-filmed animated.
Nominees are The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse, The Flying Sailor, Ice Merchants, Minions and More, because I just think that would be funny, and My Year of Dicks. And obviously The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse would win because celebrities. Production design, it would be presented by Steve Martin because we had Martin Short on earlier, so I think legally he has to be there as well. It would be the same nominees, but Elvis would win because that just fixes my Oscar ballot, even though I don't really want Elvis to win. So for original score, presenting will be Cate Blanchett playing her character in Tar. And this will be a test to see if she can stay in character to win Best Actress later on in the night. It's kind of like a callback. We just need to see a little bit more before she has the win. And it's the same nominees, but it's a tie because it's all one score. Haha. Tied score. Get it? Because it's original score. Visual effects. Presenting. So everyone will vote on someone from the In Memoriam to vote to come back in CGI form.
Oh my God.
To present this. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I nominated Avatar: The Way of Water, Fantastic Beasts, The Secret of Dumbledore, Megan, Morbius, because I think that would be funny, and Thor: Love and Thunder. And the Oscar would go to Paul Mescal for Aftersun because he had a visual effect on me personally.
Yeah, he impaired my visuals because I cried a lot during that movie.
Original screenplay presented Tommy Wiseau, obviously. Nominees, obviously. I thought there's no way everyone who votes for the Oscars actually has seen all the films, so I'm going to do it the same way that I assume that they choose it, which is based on title. So I chose the top names of 2022 feature films. These are all real names. The nominees are Astonishing Tales of Terror, Rocktopusy, Cha-Cha Real Smooth, Don't Fuck in the Woods 2, Shark Side of the Moon, and The Witch Part 2, the other one. And the Oscar would go to Shark Side of the Moon.
Yeah. I have confirmed though, someone on the internet somehow told me that they're like, yeah, they just give it to their assistants if they don't have time. They're just like, yeah, which one should I do? And they're like, they send it off and that's it.
Interesting.
And usually the assistants will give it to their children and they're like, what do you like?
Interesting. Okay. Adapted screenplay. It's going to be presented by two random guys we got off the street who we will call the Coen brothers. Same rules apply. Best titles of 2022. The Almond and the Seahorse, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, Chicken Hare and the Hamster of Darkness, Jerry and Marge Go Large, and Lyle Lyle Crocodile, and we will give it to Chicken Hare and the Hamster of Darkness. Long may he reign.
Hamster of Darkness, my fave.
Sound, presenting will be Austin Butler because there's something going wrong in that mouth and sound of his.
He's just looking for help, basically.
Nominees will be All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar: The Way of Water, Elvis, The Northman, and Top Gun Maverick. The winner will be Women Talking because we need more of that sound in Hollywood. Yeah. Original song, the winner, I only had the winner, which is The Happy Birthday, sung for the live action short winners, An Irish Goodbye on stage. Editing, presenting will be Zack Snyder because he needs to learn how to edit. 5 nominees will be Avatar: The Way of Water, Banshees of Inisherin, The Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, and the hot guy who edited Everything Everywhere All at Once. The winner is actually going to be the person who edits all of the clips together for the Oscars, and it's going to be like this really cute moment. Director, I think what's really important when you're making a movie is that you need to make sure that it's all, you're making one movie. You're not making a bunch of different ones. You need to make sure that it's all going in the same direction, the One Direction. We're going to have One Direction present this award.
Amazing.
The nominees are Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Mark Mylod for The Menu, Jordan Peele for Nope, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Olivia Wilde for Don't Worry, Darling. And the Oscar goes to Florence Pugh for Don't Worry, Darling.
I love that.
Actress in a leading role presenting will be Glenn Close, because she has the most nominated without winning. So let's just get her on stage. Nominees are Cate Blanchett for Tar, Viola Davis for The Woman King, Daniel Deadwyler for Till, Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans, Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and the winner will be Michelle Yeoh because that was very well deserved. Actor in a leading role presenting will be the men who have been nominated the most without winning, which is Warren Beatty, because also something could go terribly wrong there, and that would be really exciting. Bradley Cooper, Willem Dafoe, and Ed Harris. And the nominees are Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Austin Butler for Elvis, just because I want to see him lose again, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Paul Mescal for Aftersun, and Bill Nighy for Living. And the winner is Brendan Fraser because that solves world peace. And Best Picture.
We did that.
Final one, Best Picture presenting will be me. Because these are just the top 10 movies I saw of 2022, and there weren't many. So the nominees are Aftersun, Causeway, Death on the Nile, Do Revenge, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery, Luckiest Girl Alive, Megan, The Menu, She Said, and Turning Red. And the winner is The Room. Much delayed. And that's how we finish our show.
Wow. Real nail biter on that last one too.
I know, right? So Silvana, what have you been watching lately?
Well, we have already discussed many times. I have been watching The Last of Us, and because it was the finale, to prevent myself from going into withdrawals from Pedro Pascal, I have decided I think I will try and con my way into a Netflix subscription or just pay the $20 and start watching Narcos. Because I hear it's really good. It was one of like the first big critically acclaimed like Netflix originals too, like back in the day, I'm pretty sure. And it was always the ones where one of the ones where people would recommend it to me and I was like, guns, I'm okay. But Pedro, I'm like, okay, I'll watch the guns. But so that's what I'm watching next. But it's been The Last of Us. I've been keeping up with Abbot Elementary until I think it was like the season midway point, and then I decided to stop paying for Hulu, so I just rewatched the first season. But I've been watching Abbott Elementary, and then besides that, not too much TV at the moment, but The Last of Us definitely took a hold of me and my conscious mind. I did watch The Sopranos a little bit in February, but not in any way where I followed the plot line at all. I was just like, oh, nice to have in the background. Just an easy, story to just
very
like,
low stakes, very
like what better like thing to have on while you're like cooking or getting work done than like mob people shooting each other in Italian accents,
ASMR.
Or, like Italian American accents, New Jersey accents. Like anyone hasn't been watching The Last of Us, which I feel like everyone is. Like no one needs the recommendation, but if anybody's just in the mood for like a nice feel good daddy daughter road trip TV show, like The Last of Us is perfect. It won't break your heart. You won't cry. It's just a good time.
Would you thank Pedro Pascal if you won an Oscar?
That's so interesting. No, because I don't want to embarrass myself.
But Paramore is okay.
Doesn't need to know who I am. I've made eye contact with Paramore. Like I've already embarrassed myself in front of them. It's fine. They've seen me dance. Like there's no shame. But with Pedro, so here's the thing. It's like sometimes I'll ask myself the age-old question: if I saw this actor or celebrity that I like walk into a pub that I was in, would I say hi? I don't know, because I'm a very nervous person. If I got like a Klonopin prescription, maybe.
I think he would be happy to see you.
Yeah.
He seems like a very nice fellow.
He is a very nice guy. I also have always thought about if I had to interact with a celebrity, like if I was in a service job and I had to like, they were a customer or something like that, would I tell them or let them know that I know who they are or pretend I wouldn't or I didn't or whatever? I go back and forth sometimes if I could like pull it off, or like sometimes you make eye contact with celebrity and they know that you know. You can't get away with it. But I did start watching Daisy Jones and the Six like a few days ago. I haven't gotten through the second episode because spoiler alert, I can't get into it. And I've been really looking forward to it. But the scene where the character Camilla and Billy, where they like meet and like fall in love or whatever, she lies and tells him that she like doesn't know who he is or whatever, when she did the whole time. Um, and she was just like playing it cool or whatever, and like they get together. But I feel like that'd be weird to like be in a relationship with someone and like have honesty and communication and then just slip that information in years later of like, oh yeah, like our first interaction was a complete lie and I knew who you were the whole time. Yeah, Daisy Jones and the Six, it's basically like a Fleetwood Mac ripoff. Someone on Twitter said it was the Kids Bop Fleetwood Mac tell-all documentary, like fake documentary story or whatever, and I felt like that resonated. I thought it was going to be like HBO style limited series, and it is very much not that. Um, but I mean, the cast is still good. Maybe I just have to like get past the second episode. But so far, it's like What If Almost Famous was like a bad TV show,
Oh, interesting. Huh.
which is kind of disappointing because it's super hyped up and like the cast looks great, and the cast is also like talented, like they sing and play instruments well. But and talking about Austin Butler, the actress, the main actress, is Elvis Presley's granddaughter. So she has that going for her, and she's very talented. Like she seems like a good actress. Sort of like a fresh face. She's been in a lot of stuff already, but just like nothing you would have noticed. It's like her first lead role. Sam Coughlin's good, but just like the script is just not vibing with me. But what have you been watching?
So we saw Aftersun together at the Ampersand Film Festival. I thought it was good. I thought like there are some really long shots. So like if that's like your thing, it's not really my aesthetic. I think like if you're really into like watching people like snore
It felt
in
very
a
much
bed.
like you're just observing life the way a child does, and I felt that resonated with me.
Yeah. So if you like that kind, like I can acknowledge that it's a good movie and it made me feel a certain way. Who's Your Daddy wise? Paul Mescal's father, who was also named Paul Mescal, so it makes it very difficult to do
Wait, his
research
dad's
on.
name is Paul Mescal.
Yeah. He was a school teacher who acted semi-professionally. So, but we have
Oh.
no idea what he's done because his name is Paul Mescal. And there's really not much I can do with it. We also saw The Room together, which was very special. Greg Sestero was there.
I actually have the Ampersand Film
Oh my
Festival
gosh.
thingy. Oh look, there's Greg.
There he is. There's our friend.
Being with me on my desk.
What's really interesting is like I've been on his Instagram.
A little listing there.
I've been on his Instagram, and he wears the same shirt whenever he goes to like a screening of The Room. So I'm like, does he just own the one? It was
his work uniform.
It was a very weird thing where he was like running the whole signing and doing all the pictures, and I don't know if he's okay, because like it's usually like they have like an attendant or something taking money, but it was just like Greg Sestero and the money that's rolled up in his pocket.
Yeah, I wonder if Danny Pudi got the same treatment or if he had like more people.
I think he probably had people, because I don't think he did a meet and greet or anything, but it just seems like Greg Sestero does this.
That's like, I think he's like, that's what his career has been, is just milking The Room.
Yeah.
And that sort of community and servicing that, what they want and stuff like that.
But I did tell him, he signed my book and he said, "Oh, hi, Marriya." So that was really exciting. But then I did tell him that he is my favorite Greg, even though my father's name is Greg. And he didn't really react. And I feel like that humbled me very quick.
I think he definitely was like, oh, haha. Like he did definitely like held polite conversation.
Thank you.
But I think he was just tired at that point. We were on like the very back of the line. But yeah, that's why it's like I feel like I never would go up to people if they like walked into a pub. Is because it's like I don't have a good enough conversation. Like I'm not a big meet and greet person. The people I've met in real life have been like at merch tables at concerts. And it's mostly like my interaction is I buy merch and like I love you. And they're like, oh my God, thanks. And then it's like it's a very much like you sort of know what the expectations are in the interaction, and it's not necessarily like a meet and greet type thing.
Gotcha.
Um, and it helps having a friend there too to be like, oh, do you guys want a picture or
Yeah,
something
you
like
were really
that?
helpful.
I took a
Yeah, I don't
picture.
know. I thought it was fun, and like the fact that we got a behind the scenes look. I don't want to like be outing Hannah Montana here, but it was very exciting that he revealed that they reshot the room in one
Oh
day
yeah.
with Bob
Bob
Odenkirk
Odenkirk.
playing Johnny.
Honestly, that's a get. So kudos to them.
Right?
Also, I hear so much about Bob Odenkirk's wife because I think he's like someone's agent or something and who like knows
Huh.
um what's his face Mullally. Oh my God. What's her first
Megan
name?
Mullally?
Megan Mullally, Nick Offerman's wife. I think they know each other and I think it's somehow because of Bill Hader, but I
Interesting.
just like sometimes anyways. Bob Odenkirk's wife is like an agent
Oh,
and she's like
interesting.
good at her job and knows a lot of people.
But who's your daddy wise for the room? Who knows? Tommy Wiseau? Who knows? He claims that his
Deeply
accent
unsettling
is from
man.
New Orleans. So who
Oh my
knows?
God.
And then I also saw Causeway, which I didn't feel like strongly about, but it was good. And like we love disability friendships and disability storylines. As your favorite disabled girl. Hi.
On our little trip to the film festival, I learned an extra layer about Marriya's disability and that she's been lying to me this whole time. I thought she had like a rare bone disease that she genetically inherited, and it gets worse with each generation. That she was like, I've been told I cannot have kids for
Never
fear
happened.
that I would pass down this terrible disease. And it would just cause them physical pain their entire lives. And then she was like, no.
I told
I
you
never said
I wanted kids after seeing Aftersun, and you were like, "Are you
that.
allowed?"
Okay. Also, yeah, very sad movie to afterwards be like, I want kids. But it is something that I did think about. It is a movie about having a child.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yeah, young people, I feel like I don't get asked that very often. Do you want children? The answer is yes. Because here's the thing, I have so many dreams where I am pregnant or have a child. So many dreams.
Like dreams
Also,
like you're asleep, or dreams like
like I am asleep and I'm
okay.
asleep, and that is the dream that I have is that I'm like somehow pregnant. There's never a father. Oftentimes, I also have nightmares about getting married to a person I don't want to get married to, and the person it's like is a stranger to me, and that's like usually
Mm.
the reason why I don't want to marry them. But these are terrifying things. They're also sort of like what women are expected to like build their lives around is like a marriage and children.
Yeah.
But they just haunt my nightmares apparently. I do want kids though. Yeah, I'm always pregnant. I've had a few dreams where I have like small children and like one or two where I've seen their face, and that had a huge impression on me. But who knows, man? Do you want kids,
Wow.
Marriya? Are you gonna pass down your bone disease?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kill evolution.
Yeah.
Natural selection is coming for all of us.
Yeah, but also part of the lore was that she had told me like about this bone disease in like high school. And then in college, she told me, oh, it turns out my doctor had misdiagnosed me and it wasn't this like rare thing that they were like, well, it has to be this because it's not this thing. So this was like a years long con of her weaving this story of events.
I
And
don't
then she's
remember
just like,
this at
I've
all.
never said that.
I don't have any memory of that, but I
Wow.
trust you.
What a politician's answer, but okay.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Remake Hot Take. Thank you, Silvana, for being on this very special Oscars episode.
Thank you for having me. I feel special. So,
Yay! If you want to follow the podcast, it's on Remake Hot Take on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, everywhere. Silvana, do you still not want people to follow you anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, if I meet you, sure. But if you don't know me, you don't know me.
If they see you in a pub, should they approach?
That's scary. I'm not famous. Why would you do that to a random person? But if you know me, sure. Yeah, I'm a very friendly person.